After I refused to give my dad my inheritance, he invited me to a family meeting. When I arrived, they had lawyers ready to force me to sign it over. But the moment they handed me the papers, I smiled and said, "Funny, I brought someone too." Update 1, I'm Alex, 32 years old and told, and last month my father invited me to a family meeting with lawyers ready to force me to sign away my $2 million inheritance. Before I tell you how I turned their ambush completely on its head, do me a favor and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I'd love to see how far this story reaches. It all started with a text message. 5 simple words that landed on my phone screen like a ticking bomb. Family meeting tomorrow at 3. Be there. It wasn't a request. It was a summon issued by my father, Richard. This came just 1 week after I had stood my ground. Around refusing his demand to sign over the entire estate my grandfather had left me. That refusal had unleashed a storm of anger and guilt trips, but this felt different. This felt final. The walk up the familiar concrete path to my childhood home was surreal. Every crack in the pavement held a memory, but today the house itself seemed hostile. The curtains and the big bay window were drawn tight, blocking out the afternoon sun. I reached for the doorbell, but the heavy oak door swung inward before my knuckles could touch it. My father stood there dressed in a crisp polo shirt, a practiced, almost theatrical smile plastered on his face. It was the smile of a salesman closing a deal and had never once touched his cold, calculating eyes. Punctual as always, he said, his voice a smooth, dangerous purr. "Come in, everyone's waiting." He led me into the living room, and the air hit me like a physical force, thick with tension and the cloying scent of my stepmother's potpourri. Brenda, my stepmother, was perched on the edge of the plush sofa, her posture rigid. She was wearing a silk blouse I'd never seen before, a recent purchase, no doubt. Beside her, my younger brother Leo wouldn't look at me. His gaze was fixed on a loose thread on the carpet, but my attention was immediately drawn to the 2 men occupying my grandfather's favorite wingback chairs. They were strangers, both in their 50s, exuding an aura of expensive cologne and ruthless efficiency. Their tailored suits were immaculate, their leather briefcases placed neatly by their feet. They looked like wolves who had been invited to a feast. My father, playing the role of master of ceremonies, gestured towards them. "Alex," he announced, his voice booming with false authority. "I'd like you to meet Mr. Wilson and Mr. Daniels. They are the family's legal advisors here to help us sort through this unfortunate situation." The 2 men gave me tight professional nods. Their eyes held a sort of detached pity, the kind you give to an animal already caught in a trap. The room wasn't a living room anymore. It was an interrogation chamber, and I was the sole person on the stand. Brenda's offer of coffee felt like an insult. I shook my head, a lump forming in my throat. Mr. Wilson leaned forward. His movements slick and rehearsed, he placed a thick, professionally bound document on the coffee table. The thud it made seemed to echo in the silent room. "Alex," he began, his tone condescendingly gentle, "your family is deeply concerned about the burden this inheritance has placed on you. We've prepared a simple solution, a voluntary transfer of assets to your father, who is of course better equipped to manage such a complex estate." He slid the document across the polished wood. "We just need your signature on the last page," he said, tapping a yellow sticky tab. "Then we can all move on as a family.